Welcome to Living Martial Arts with Master Ray Gale, aka the Dark Master. Living Martial Arts discusses and examines the everyday exercise, philosophy, and lifestyle of the martial arts enthusiast. The host talks about his own training, past and present, and he also interviews many martial artists to discover how they continue to live their own martial arts journey. Tune in for top tips on how to get the best out of your martial art. Or perhaps you're thinking of starting a martial art. This podcast offers you an easy way to dip your toe in. Sign up for the newsletter at livingmartialarts.com and get regular updates and training tips direct to your inbox. Follow the Dark Master on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Living Martial Arts.
Hello to the Living Martial Arts podcast fans. It's me, the Dark Master, back with another guest. One of my previous guests from a little while ago. I have Mr. Phil Whitlock on the line. So how are you doing? How are you doing, Phil?
I'm very well, sir. Thank you for having me back. Very much appreciate it. And looking forward to a nice conversation with you, sir.
Excellent. Well, before we start, I know that I was going to say circumstance, not circumstance per se, but your life has changed a little bit because you're into a bit of sports therapy now. So before we do that, tell us a little bit about that. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going really well, thank you, sir. We're looking to launch the sport clinic in the summer. I've already got a few clients and people that I'm working with a few nights a week, but I've been working very hard, studying. It's been a lot of studying, working, daytime jobs, parenting. It's been a lot, but I'm absolutely loving it, very much enjoying it. And my aim basically is to build the clinic here where I like to aim it towards martial arts students and athletes, where if you want to work on your sparring technique, pads, bag work, etc., we can cater to that. If you want to work on your strength and conditioning, get stronger, jump higher, lift more weight, etc., then we can do that. And then when you've got injuries or general aches and pains, we can accommodate that as well. So it's kind of a hub where, and obviously, work with people outside of martial arts as well. Sort of working with a number of younger martial arts, sort of what I would say like combat sports athletes. They do taekwondo, but they're very much into the competition side of it. And I very much enjoy just sort of giving them my experience and knowledge in the sort of various areas that I can, as well as the stuff that I've learned from my qualifications as well.
Brilliant. Well, it sounds good. What we'll do is after we'll put some of that stuff in the show notes, and I'm sure the good thing is that you've been there, you've been in martial arts, when people talk about different techniques, what they're doing or where they feel pain or whatever, you'll know about that. So I can certainly say that, people listening to this, if you've got any injuries or anything that you want to work on or anything you're working on, click on the link. We'll put some links and just click on and get in touch with Phil. He'll be able to help you out with that. Excellent.
Appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
Excellent. So the podcast, this is about the series that I'm doing called a martial arts or a warrior fighter mindset, and how that's developed, and some of the good things, and maybe not some of the bad things as well. Actually, within that mindset that can where it can go wrong, if you want to call it that. So I'm just going to kick off really. Obviously, you were one of my students, and I realized that very early on, you had a strong mindset. And I think that seeing your work ethic was really key. And I said to people that my work ethic came from my mother. My mother was very, very strong. Her mind was very strong. And I was lucky enough, even as a young kid, to actually spend a bit of time with my mum, and she'd say things to me, and it didn't really resonate with me until I was much older. But I said before, my mother, she taught me to read, she taught me to write. This was before school. She, when I was older, she taught me to cook. And she said certain things to me that you need to be able to do this as a young man. This won't be done for you, so you need to learn. And I probably resented it a little bit at the time, but actually now I can see the benefit.
100% so. And I think there's such a shift in society today, and you're, as I said, so lucky to have somebody that realize that. I think today a lot of like modern day parenting, they look to the state, to the government to educate their child. There's things that I see online, people ask and say, oh, the school should teach them this. Oh, they're not taught this at school. And it's like, no, that's your job. You're the parent. And the fact that you want to put your child's well-being, mental health, education, like the whole base of their knowledge into, and the teachers are amazing. Don't get me wrong. My brother is one. I love them to bits. They are absolutely fantastic. But they're there to do like a small segment of the child's education or their education, but the rest of their learning should be from their parents. And I was very lucky that I had very supportive parents that I learned a lot from, and obviously I had you growing up as as a role model, leading the way and talking about work ethic and and just the model of ITF Taekwondo, the grading syllabus, the competition element of things. It's just such a good model to be able to for young people to be like molded into the humans that they become. And I'm a product of them, of you, of the system. Well,
I think. I mean, going on from that, if you mentioned your parents, and I think that was important. I think that's important for kids to have a positive self-image, which then leads to a positive mindset, if you want to call it that, positive mindset, and a mindset that you can build on. So you certainly had that, but actually you took that to another level, because not only did you you competed in Taekwondo, you went on to kickboxing, and to me, you always seemed as if you wanted to do more. You always wanted to further yourself. And I also think that's the same with the way that you look at society. You don't stand by and let it go past you. And whether it's right or wrong, whether people like it or not, you comment on it, and actually you seem to be involved with the conversation. Whereas a lot of people really makes me mad, because they just sit there and let it happen to them.
100% so, yeah. And I think that's ties in with a point that I wanted to make, actually, that with mindset, martial arts, warrior, athlete, however you want to model it's almost, that's not really the point. The point is that it's competition and becoming a black belt. It's like a metaphor for life, and you have to work hard to be able to receive, to get to a level of understanding, and you have to be taught things, sometimes the hard way, sometimes it's by being kicked in the face, and then it's and then learning to pick yourself up, analyze that. Why did I get kicked in the face? What can I do to not get kicked in the face the next time, etc. And having that the mindset to be able to compete. And that's why I think I have like for people that don't know, a lot of people will do. Like, I've had to have a hip replacement, sort of waiting surgery on my nose. I might be looking at ACL reconstruction, etc. And people will kind of look at that and go like, oh, well, he went too far, or he abused his body, went too far, took it too far, etc. And that's a negative. I don't look at it that way, because so to kind of go back a step, I think what gave me an edge, or gives me an edge over maybe other people, is the fact that I actually had a very comfortable upbringing. I had a very middle class lifestyle. Both my parents worked. We were financially comfortable. Even though my parents are split up now, I never saw them argue, raise their voices to each other. There was zero conflict in my house growing up. And as I got older, I realized that actually that's a slight weakness that I had, in terms of when there was any outside of the family home, if there was any verbal conflict, or I had to sort of stand up for myself, I felt really nervous. And there were times where I look back when I was younger that I didn't do it when I knew I should have. And taekwondo and martial arts and competing gave me the mindset and the confidence to go, okay, here is my weakness. I'm not good with conflict. I'm a bit of a people pleaser, etc. This is something that I need to improve on. And so I walked to the fire almost. I walked to the competition. And combat sports is, especially high level taekwondo competition and professional kickboxing. Professional kickboxing, you're getting half naked in a ring with hundreds of people, with a man trying to take your head off. There's that's the ultimate level of conflict. And I took myself to that, and I did the doors as a younger man as well, because I think looking back on it, half it was because I knew that I was rubbish at verbal conflict. And so going on to the doors, it's you were going to be having verbal conflict every night that you're stood on that door, or stood inside the nightclub. And that forged me into a stronger person. That then now gives me the confidence to not care that I'm going to upset a few people, because for me, the truth is the most important thing when it comes to societal matters, etc. Sure. Whether it hurts your feelings or not to sound like Ben Shapiro or anything. But what's more important than your hurt feelings is the truth. And that's for not only for you as a person, but for us as a society moving forward altogether. And to sort of bring that all back round, it is the mindset that I got from martial arts, from competition, etc., that gave me the ability to have that conflict with people and the world, because life is conflict and life is competition. Whatever it is, whether if you want that particular girlfriend, that particular job, you want to live in that house, there are other people that want that girlfriend, that want that house, etc. And you have to be prepared to be able to deal with some conflict and stand your ground physically, mentally, whichever way, to be able to just to make your life better, but you can't pour from an empty cup, to be able to therefore give yourself a standing in which to help others. So I know that was a long-winded answer. I think it's a good answer, and because it makes me think as well, because it is interesting. As you know, my lifelong friend Master Ogborn, he doesn't deal with conflict very well. I deal with conflict better,
But then I think it was because I had a lot of conflict as a young lad in the 60s, growing up as a black kid, having to deal with verbal conflict at school, not just with kids, but with teachers, and having to deal with that. So actually, when I came to my later teens, when I came to Taekwondo, I was already up for the conflict. I was already up for it because I dealt a lot with it. And I think that also made me very strong, allowed me to do possibly the things that you're doing now, setting up your own sports clinic, for example. So, I had a good job when I left school and I was earning a lot of money, but, people, when I stopped doing that and being a martial artist, so people look at me, he's lost his mind. He's lost his mind. But for me, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. But I think, that sort of thing, again, came mainly from my mother, who, whenever I got into any conflict, she'd sit down and say, well, look, this is, and she'd speak to me and she'd tell me about the fact that don't worry about it, stay strong, keep going, keep working, you can do it. You're just as good as anyone else, blah, blah, blah. So I think that type of thing, that type of early conflict really shaped my fighting and competitive mindset. That when I went in the square, actually, I was up for this. So no, I understand that. I take in everything you said there, and it makes complete sense. By the way, it really does. It really does.
Verbalize it in a way that it makes sense in my head. But and definitely, and that's why, if you are competing or in a martial arts journey and you're not analyzing the advantages and disadvantages of the way that you're approaching, whether it's a grading, a competition, a fight, whatever it is, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because so much of your performance, the way that you're perceived, and like the effect that you can have on the world is correlated to the way that you think and the way that you perceive situations and conflict and aggressors. And as I said, for me, that's the lessons that I learned from that have made me a person that I wanted to be. And if that meant sacrificing some, I mean, really, all it is sacrificing some time in terms of like healing from a surgery. Like, I'm very, very fortunate that we live, with medical science the way that it is, and our understanding in that, I can have a hip replacement, recover from it, and I've got all of the lessons that I learned from pushing myself, and helping to maybe not push, but like try and lead others in terms of my own students into that fire, into that conflict, to make them stronger, better people, not just to get results in terms of martial arts, but in terms of their own lives. And, like having the ability to go, okay, you know what, it's risky, but I want to start my own business, or, I want to do this, do that. I want to even little things, like I want to be able to go up and, talk to that lady, in real life, not just send in a text or whatever. I think, sport in general can do that, but I think martial arts is really specifically good at drawing that out of people. And you can maximize that by analyzing yourself, analyzing the situations, etc. And you look at I use the term like extreme winners, people that are like multiple world champions, 5-time world champion, etc. That doesn't happen by luck or anything like that. And when you look at the difference, and obviously same as yourself, so like a very fortunate position that I've worked hard to be able to talk to those type of people. The and look at the difference between like extreme winners and people that have won. Is like a strange mix of humility and ego.
Definitely.
It's getting that balance of having an ego in terms of, you know what, I can be the best person here. Like I have got the ability to win. I've got the ability to defeat these other people. But then also having the humility to recognize your mistakes, learn from anyone, even if you're a fourth dan or an eighth dan or whatever it is, realizing that you can spar with a red belt. If they counter you or kick you in the face or whatever, then having the humility to go, I made a mistake here. What mistake did I make? How can I make that better for next time? And that's, that rolls into business, that rolls into life. Like, my relationship with my wife, like I make a point of maybe like once a month. It kind of happens naturally quite a lot, but like I will talk to her and say, here are the things that I think I've done wrong. Like in the, or like not even done wrong, or just didn't do as well as I possibly could. Like, you came to me with this and like, I could have listened better. Or, there was one, obviously, as you know, people have got a young son. I remember coming home from work one day and like the dishes weren't done, the washing wasn't done, etc. And I didn't say anything, but I kind of came and like, oh, hi, here's whoever. And then just like, boom, went to task, like trying to get all these things done.
Yeah.
And she knew that like something was up or whatever. And I was like, no, fine, just getting it done, etc. And then it took me a week, but after a few days I analysed it, I said, and I thought to myself, you know what, like something was wrong. I was unhappy, the fact that things weren't done in that particular way that I particularly wanted it. And I said, look, here's the thing. I need to be more realistic in terms of, we've got a young son. It's very, very difficult to get multiple things done and keep him alive, especially one that wants to jump off the back of the sofa and all of that. But I should have also like verbalized straight away. I said, inquired as to why, etc. So now I'm a little bit more understanding of the things that it's hard to get things done, and you can't get that done all of the time. But when I verbalize, it's like she's made like a little bit more of an effort in terms of like just prioritizing some things that like I see as a priority. And on the other hand, it's like I see that these are your priorities, etc. And that all just comes from analysis and the humility of like, okay, maybe I made a mistake here. Like maybe I didn't approach the situation in the most ideal situation, which I attribute to the fact that went to the fire,
that says a lot about your mindset as well, because I think the ability to look at yourself and also look at your weaknesses, if you want to call them weaknesses. I don't know if you call weaknesses or things that perhaps you could, I remember, I don't do it so much now, but I remember reading a book about parenthood, particularly about fathers. And then I started asking my kids, my girls, hi girls, how you doing? You said, how can I be a better father? What would you like me to do better? Wow. And most of the time they go, oh no, you're really good, Dad, really good. I said, no, but it's something you might want me to do better. What is it? And I remember I went through a phase of asking that quite a lot to my kids. And I thought it was really important for my mindset to say to them, well, actually, I want to be better. What do you think I need to do? And asking, these young people of mine what they think of me, which is quite tough bearing your soul, because they could have come up with a long list of gone, well, actually, which might have made me feel a little bit, I haven't really been doing a very good job. And I think for me, again, that comes from that sort of martial arts mindset. Well, I'm looking at myself, even as a martial arts teacher, I've been thinking recently, right, what can I do better for the kids, particularly for the kids, because they're the ones that are going to be doing this stuff in the future. And I think, right, what can I say to them? What can I do for them? How can I inspire them to do more? And I remember this happened a week ago. I was in the class and I said, listen, this is actually the best time of your life. You have more time now than you'll ever have in your life. I said, so first of all, try and enjoy it. There are things that you're not going to like. And it was really good because I could see at the side the parents going, yeah, he's right. I was thinking, if I'm not hitting a nerve with the kids, at least I'm hitting a nerve with the parents. Exactly. And that's working quite well. But it's, I don't know, I think building that mindset of, actually, I'm not perfect. I do have flaws. How can I work on those flaws? How can I make them better? And I'm sure that if I was an engineer at Rolls-Royce, I wouldn't have been thinking like that. It's martial arts that's made me think like that. I'm sure, because it does expose you in many different ways, and it teaches you so many different lessons that you actually don't realize until very later on in life.
And it's funny, isn't that sort of going back to that link between like ego and humility as well, because obviously you kind of want to do those things, so it requires having the humility to learn and ask those vulnerable questions to make yourself a stronger, better person. And in a way, that's kind of something, because I want to be the best. I want to be the best husband, the best father, the best clinician, the best coach, the best whatever, so that, in a sense, for my own ego, in the terms that I want people to look to me in times of conflict. I want people to think, Phil, he's reliable, and be that rock for people. And in a sense, like, that's a little bit egotistical, but it's using the two sides of that coin to kind of make that balancing act. I think that can make you the best person that you could potentially be. And if you have and I think we often concentrate a lot on being, you have to be humble, but also at the same time, some people need to tell us, actually, you need to be strong as well, and you need to be a little bit defiant at times when it's appropriate. You need to have the ability to stand and go, you know what, actually, I don't think that's right. I have these thoughts, and the wisdom comes in knowing when to listen, when to stand up and say, definitely, actually, this isn't right. And and it's just that decision making that, again, competition in particular really gives you that edge, because zig instead of zagging, and you win or you lose. And if ziggy or zag, it's like you either annoy somebody unnecessarily, or you miss a learning opportunity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And it always brings you back to the saying by Sun Tzu, which says, courage above all things is the first quality of a warrior. You have to have that courage. And hopefully the things that we do and the times that we stand in front of people and bare our souls at gradings, and we walk on the mat and we're a little bit nervous, but we build that courage to do it again, to keep doing it. And I think that again, I said to students, it doesn't matter whether you actually pass or fail. It's the lessons you learn, because actually, even at the grading, whether it's pass or fail, guess what? Same thing's going to happen. You should just carry on training. But having the courage to walk on it. Sorry, go on.
No. Yeah, just going on to that point, I 100% agree with you. And the important factor is looking at a long-term goal and striving your hardest for that. If that's the top of your priority list, it's looking at your priorities. What's your highest priority? Okay, I'm going to work for that. And I've had competitions where I got a bronze medal, and if I actually, one of my proudest achievements is actually a bronze medal, even though I've won gold medals that have higher titles, because I knew that I did absolutely everything I could to perform my best at that competition. I worked my butt off, and I lost to a Ukrainian. So guess what? He was better than me. But I don't care. I gave him a good fight. I got one judge towards me, and I knew that I'd set this as a goal, and I'd done everything I can, and I'd executed in terms of I performed my best at that tournament.
Yeah, there
are other times where I've won and I've come here and you sort of come off the mat and people look at you like, "Are you all right? You don't look too happy." And I go, "I'm not." And they're like, "But you won." And it's like, no, but I didn't perform my best. It might be that you got a decision that could have gone either way that happened to go your way, or the other person had an injury or whatever. It means that the result is that you win. But if you know that you didn't perform your best, and the one that this only happened to me once, because I made sure this only happened to me once, was you didn't prepare to the best of your ability. And it was straight after my first World Championships in Argentina with you.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what competition it was, but it was immediately afterwards. And just before my category was about to stop the tournament, England team up, and I'm there with my GB tracksuit, with two bronze and a silver, World Championship medals, etc. And these guys, blah, blah, blah. And then went off, took the medals off, took the tracksuit off, went to do my category.
Yeah.
I've just come from the World Championships fighting the best people in the world. I'm not even sure it was a Puma tournament, I don't think. But it was like, even if it was, it might be.